Hey guys, it's Julian, and I got a new charger. I actually got a new charger a few months ago, but it's way better than the charger I was previously using, which was the ParkZone eFlight 2 3-cell push button charger that could only do like, what is it, like 3 amps maximum, but so bad. Anyways, now I've got a new charger. It's the Dynamite Passport Ultra. This is the 100-watt version. They just came out with like a 220-watt version, which I thought was kind of overkill because I don't have a battery that's going to be massive. The biggest battery I've got is actually right in here, and it is a ready-made RC 8,000 milliamp 3-cell. Really good batteries, by the way. If you really like want good batteries, ready-made RC is the place to get them. But yeah, it's a pretty simple charger. It's pretty intuitive. I like some of the features that it has, and I don't like some of the other features that it has that are really safety features, but kind of make it a little bit painful if you're trying to do charging for more extreme situations. So, without further ado, we're going to turn the thing on. And it takes a little while to turn on if it's been off for a while, but once turned on, it says "Hello Julian" to me, and then we're in the menu. So, it's push button. Well, sorry, it's not push button. It's touchscreen, and it's not really a touch-sensitive touchscreen. Like, you could use something like this, and oftentimes I've actually just preferred using a like stylus or something like this over using my finger, just because of some of the things that are harder to touch. Like, so if I go into LiPo charge, if I press that, it can be really hard sometimes to get exactly where I want to click on the right time. So let's say that I might want to do a few things. It can just be easier to use something like this as opposed to using your finger, where it's not very precise, or you have to wind up using your fingernail. So it's just a matter of preference. Overall, it's a very good interface. It's very intuitive. You get charge, discharge, and storage charge. And you can also store memory, and this has a 20 model slot for your battery memory. I guess I shouldn't call it model, but I'm going to do a few things in this video. I'm going to show you guys how to set up and use the memory. One quick note on the memory: with this charger, you only get memory for charge settings. You can't load memory files for the discharge or storage charge settings, which is kind of annoys me, especially on storage charge, because I use storage charge a fair bit. And it's just annoying to have to go through and like reset the values every time that I want to charge, or every time that I want to set a different battery to storage. So you can actually charge a bunch of different battery types with this battery. You can charge PB, which is lead acid. You can charge nickel cadmium. Please, someone tell me how to say that in the comments. Nickel metal hydride, lithium ion, and lithium ferrite, and then our favorite, lithium polymer LiPos. These things that like to smoke and blow up in our faces.
There it goes! Stand back! Stand back! Stand back! Oh. Whoa.
But no, it's pretty good. Anyways, you can also, let's say that you've got a battery right here. This is a 800 milliamp Tipple 3S. I'm just going to plug it in. And then we're going to do view, and it gives us all the battery data without charging or doing anything. And we can view what the individual cells are. So right now it's at 4.08, 4.09, 4.09, and it actually gives us this little meter thingy. And then you get the internal temperature of the charger, the resistance of the battery, which I really like, the input voltage, the output voltage, and then you can also just do a straight a straight balance without charging the battery at all. So in other words, it just charges the battery to the nearest common voltage. So let's say that I just want to charge a LiPo, and you can also balance a lithium ion or a lithium ferrite battery, but I want to balance a LiPo, and I can just go into the balance menu from this screen. I can go into balance, I can select a LiPo, and I can go start, and it will, from the get-go, it will just balance it. And if you heard that little beep beep, it gave me balancing complete because it reached the nearest common voltage. And so that's great because it means that you can just balance your batteries without putting any charge into them, which I think is awesome. Another thing, and there goes the fan. The fan is pretty loud. It puts out a ton of air though, and it actually doesn't come on. I'd say it's about 50-50 the amount of times that the fan comes on versus when it doesn't. The charger's pretty good about turning itself on and off for the fan, so overall it's not too concerning for me because I'm not normally doing anything that the fan would be annoying when I'm in my room charging batteries. Okay, so before a few like hardware things before we actually move on to more of the stuff right here. And I'm just going to unplug the battery really quick. But if you notice, and if you've done Horizon stuff, and I'm just going to turn this off. And if you own Horizon products from the past, you'll know that all their stuff is, dun dun, you guessed it, proprietary, which means that this cannot go into another charger unless you like cut off the ends of it, as I did here. So this is what it looks like. It's got this like shielded thing around the banana plugs, which I guess is supposed to just make it like more safe for plugging in, because then the leads can't cross. But overall, it just makes it more difficult because no other manufacturer uses this with their batteries, with their battery chargers, and so you can't take this out of your charger and say, "Hey friend, here's another thing for your charger," and it doesn't actually work. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've actually just chopped off these little covering things on a few of them, and this is what it looks like underneath. And if you're worried about it, if you're worried about like the distance in terms of like how far it actually goes, I'm going to show you. And what I do is I measure up these two little barrel thingies right here, because when I plug it in, it'll go to the end of that little barrel thingy. And I'm talking about this little line right here. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but I matched that up with the other barrel, and to me it seems like they're both going the same way in, and so you're not gonna you're still gonna get connection if you use a third party banana lead charging cord as opposed to just using Horizon's proprietary stuff. But that was a little bit of an annoying thing for me, where I had people at Flight Fest actually who were asking me if they could use a few of my leads, and they actually couldn't because it just wasn't physically possible for them to plug this into their charger. That's just so satisfying, isn't it? Have any of you guys done that? Like when you have this like stuff and then just get to peel it off. Okay, so as you might have noticed while I was excited about peeling the sticker off, this is very hard to get out, and so it oftentimes just makes me worried about damaging the pins or the plug in here every time I try and take it in and out. And that's just one of the annoying things about it, is that, like, you know, it goes in just fine, and then when you need to take it out, it just requires a lot of effort, and I feel like I'm going to break something eventually. But other than that, it's good. Right down here, you've got a port for a temperature sensor if you want to wrap a temperature sensor around your battery. Programming USB, which I've yet to need to program anything on this yet. I guess you can like update the firmware and whatnot. And a 5-volt, 2.1 amp USB port, because everybody needs to charge their iPhone off their LiPo battery charger. Fun fact, LiPos are the same sort of battery, so you can just charge off this thing. But anyway, yeah, you get this. I'm not really sure why. I think it is so you can charge your cell phones. But more or less, that's what's on the outside. And now we're going to go back to programming. Okay, so going a little bit more in depth on battery stuff, let's just talk about, I don't know, and really just how the charger works. So let's say that I've got this battery, this 8 amp battery right here, which I'm just going to set right here. And I have my LiPo sack right now, but that's okay because I'm not going to be charging it fully. But you just plug in the leads. I'm going to plug in the battery first, the charge lead first, and then the balance lead. And then we're going to go to memory, where I've got my memory slot. And this is my 8 amp pack. And I'm going to hit load because that loads my battery memory. Then I'm going to make sure that everything's right. 11.1 volts, 3S, 8,000 milliamps. 8 amp current. This is, and I just want to cover this really quick in case you guys don't really know that much about battery chargers, if this is something you're looking at for your first real charger. You guys have probably heard people talk about different C charging, like this battery is rated for 5C charging, and people are all like, ooh yay, 5C charging, it's better, and some people are like, oh no, 5C charging, it's bad. And I don't think that higher C charging is really that good, because 1C is the capacity of the battery. So right now, 8 amps, 8,000 milliampere hours is equal to 8 ampere hours. So 1,000 milliamps equals 1 amp. So right now you're putting in 8 amps, which is a 1C. It is 1 times the capacity of the battery, and you're putting that amount of charge current into it. And so that means that within 1 hour, the battery will be completely full. Assuming that you've completely depleted it, the battery will go from 0 milliampere hours to 8,000 ampere hours in 1 hour if you charge it at 1C, because you are charging it at 1 times the capacity of the battery. And since amps are really synonymous with 1 hour in terms of time, you have a 1C rate, which equates to your battery going from 0 to full in 1 hour. So 8 amps is 1C charge. If you want to do multiple C charge, that would be, let's say, I want to do like 16 charge. So 16 amps would be 2C, and so on and so on. But I prefer to do 1C charge because it makes sure that your batteries have a longer lifespan. If you use higher C charge, you'll get your batteries will charge faster, but you'll also get less cycles out of them. And cycles is the amount of times you can charge them and discharge them before they start losing capacity. So, and then your end cell voltage is 4.2 volts. That's a good place to set it at. A lot of people will set it lower, like 4.15 or maybe even 4.1 to increase the number of usable cycles that the battery will give you, but you definitely do not want to go above 4.2, and the charger will actually not let you go above 4.2. So just one thing to note. And then to charge it, you press and hold this, and it gives you that quick little battery check, and then you go into this, and the fan sometimes, this is another thing that I don't like about it, the fan will sometimes grrr a little bit at me, and I'm not sure if that's because of a bearing or just because it takes a little while for it to get caught up with the airflow coming out of either of these two fans. But it's not growling at me right now, and then we can see it gives you the charge blinking, the amount of time that it's been charging for, how many millis it's put back into it, what the charge current is, what the current battery voltage is. It hasn't determined the resistance yet. The peak temperature of the battery is set to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. That is null because I don't have a temperature sensor plugged in right now. And then if we go down one more level, we can see that it has an input voltage of 15.03 volts right now. The end voltage that I've set it to is 12.6 volts, and that is 4.2 times 3. Remember that each cell will end at 4.2 volts, and we've got 3 cells, so that equates to 12.6 volts overall. And then the internal temperature of the charger is 88 degrees Fahrenheit. The safety timer is set to 600 minutes, and that's just if it charges for over 600 minutes, then it'll automatically turn it off. And the capacity limit is 8,000 milliamps. And then going down again, you can see the current capacity is, and then this is just our screen again. So you get that screen, top screen, bottom screen, and then you can go, and while it's charging, you can see what the unit is, and the unit is, when you enter the unit screen, you can see you got the cell readings. So cell 1, cell 2, and cell 3, 3.86, 3.86, and 3.87, and it'll give you this cool little meter again. And then you can go to graph, and this will show you the voltage charge curve over time. And then to stop the battery, it'll stop charging automatically after it reaches after the battery reaches either the peak milliamps put into it or the voltage that you've set. And to stop it otherwise, you can just hit stop, and then it's done. Then you hit back, and you're back to the charge screen, and then you're back to the main LiPo screen. And for discharge, it's mostly the same thing. You set it to the end voltage, which is the lowest, which would completely be discharging the battery, and then storage charge is the nominal voltage, which for LiPos is 3.7 volts per cell, and you want to do storage charge if you're going to be away for a while, and the battery's just going to be sitting, because you don't want it to be sitting either fully discharged or fully charged, because that will make it swell and lose capacity. Okay, so now I'm just going to set up a new model slot and show you guys what that looks like. It's pretty straightforward, and you can't, and as I already mentioned, I spent like 30 minutes trying to figure out why I wasn't saving my memory for discharge and storage charge. That's because you really can't set any memory slots for discharge or storage charge, which really annoys me. So in order to do that, you want to go to charge. You want to select, let's say that I've got a 4-cell 5000 milliamp. So I'm going to go to 4-cell 4S. And then I'm going to select 5,000 milliamp because my battery has a capacity of 5,000 milliamps. I want my current to be 5.0 amps. And then I want my end cell voltage to be 4.2. And so that's good. I've set what I want it to be. I'm going to go back. Remember that I've already set what I want for the battery. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go over to the memory screen. Now I'm going to go down. I'm going to select a new null memory slot. I'm going to click on it. And you can see all these options along here. Back, delete, load, save. I'm going to hit save. And all of a sudden, it fills in that slot with my 4S 5 amp battery, or 5,000 milliampere hour battery. And so then you can go to that memory slot, you can hit load, and it loads those settings for the charge. And then for any other battery that you've got, you can enter it in there. Let's say that I want to charge a 0.7 amp battery. I can go load. It gives me 750 milliampere hours, 0.7 amp charge, 4.2 volts, and 7.4 volt 2-cell battery. So that's really memory, and it's very simple how you do it. Memory, view, balance, you know, it'll show you all the stuff for the cells, balance charge. And overall, I really like this charger. So that's most of the features. Setup is pretty straightforward. You know, you've just got all these things for buzzer sound, what it tells you afterwards. But I really do like this charger. I think that it's great. It's very intuitive. 10 amps is really more than you're ever going to need if you're doing like really any battery, because who uses over 10 amps of battery? Unless you want to do multiple C charging, which I don't really recommend because it just damages your battery lifespan. So overall, this charger is good. It's very intuitive. The fan is a little bit annoying. I might contact Horizon about that if it really persists. Other than that, the fact that it has these proprietary things right here for the stock things is also one of the annoying things. But beside that, it's really useful. I really like it. I think that it's very good. It was $100, which might seem a little bit expensive to you, but I really like that Horizon stands behind their products, and the build of it is really very good. It's got a good cooling system. It's very intuitive, and I keep saying intuitive, but it really is. You can really learn your way through it very quickly. But you just plug everything in, plug everything out. You can load the memories. That's another thing that I don't like, is that you can't save the memory for the charge or for the discharge or the storage charge. But aside from that, if you can get past those downsides, it's going to be a great charger for you, and I think this is going to last me a really long time. Alright, that's it. If you guys have any questions about chargers or about batteries in general, shoot me a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy flying.